Hello and welcome to some Saturday night crafting. Tonight we are going to have some fun and we're going to create our own backgrounds. I'm going to share with you a couple ways you can do that using stuff you've got in your house, hopefully. Tonight I'm using some gouache. These are the new pastel colors from Arteza. You could use acrylic paint, you could use probably an ink refiller, something that you can use to color what we're using tonight to create a homemade paste. I've done a video before where we've made a homemade paste, and tonight is slightly easier and slightly different. The first one I'm going to show with you is the fact that you can just use a glue as your paste. So this is craft PVA glue, and the only thing that makes this different to normal PVA glue is the fact that it's a little bit thicker. So it's not quite as runny as a standard white liquid glue. Just a tiny bit thicker. But I'm going to share with you how we're going to thicken it up more. So all I'm doing is taking a small daub of my gouache paint, which is a water-soluble, water-reactive, like a watercolor paint. And I am just mixing that small little dot in with a little blob of white glue. I'm going to attach a stencil to my card front, and I'm just going to take the glue and run it over the top. It's really easy to do, really lightweight, really smooth, kind of goes on like melted butter. A little bit messy, kind of drips and drabs everywhere, but you can soften that out and smooth that out with your palette knife, and it's really quick and easy to do. So when you're done, you get your gorgeous little stencil line all showing up on your card front, and you're ready to crack on once that's dry. Now I'm going to share with you another way that we can kind of do the same thing, but we can get a more pastel tone and a more pastel look and be able to create some slightly more dimensional card fronts. So I'm just using up the rest of my paste here so I don't waste that paint. Now, if you've got baby powder, if you've got talcum powder, if you've got cornstarch, corn flour, that will all work. All we're going to do is put down a blob of that, and I do use about 5 times what I just put down there, but this is my first go, so I'm having a little play with it, and then some of this craft PVA glue. That is it. Plus your coloring, obviously. You want to put some color on there, otherwise you can just leave it white and it will work the same. Now the glue is fantastic because the glue dries, and it dries quickly, so it reacts like you would have as a normal paste, except you can make it up as you go, and you don't have to worry about a jar getting moldy sitting in your desk. It's just a nice quick and easy way to make up paste. Now all I'm doing is adding my baby powder as I go and just trying to get it to be a bit thicker. And once I got a texture that I like the feel of, I then just swipe it on top just like I did when I used only glue. So super efficient, super cheap, really nice and budget-friendly ways to make a paste that you can then apply to your card fronts. So on the left is the one with the baby powder added, on the right is the one that was just glue and color. Now as they're dried, you can then really see the difference in them. This is a lot more muted in its color, and it's also a lot more matte in its shine. So the one that's just glue appears a bit glossy, and also a bit brighter in its color. So it depends what you're going for. You can see that shine here as I'm tilting it for the camera. They're both bumpy and both textured. The one with the baby powder obviously is a bit more textured and bumpy than the one on the right, which has just the glue. Now the glue is a bit runny, so it may seep under your stencil. So for doing finer stenciling, you might struggle with just glue, which is where when you add in the powders, it can thicken it up for you and make it apply over that stencil nice and easy. So again, I went and used up the rest of my paste, and I did a couple more stencils on top of my cards. I would do my best to link these all down below for you, all the products that I've used, so that you can check them out if you're looking for some stencils or the paint. That should be in the description box for you. I also did some green ones. I had these leaf stencils, and I thought these would be really cute because I've got some dies, some floral dies that I really wanted to use for my cards today, and I thought a nice leafy background would go really well with them. So starting on making these into some cards, I decided to use some vellum to kind of mute that background even a bit more than it already was, so that it's not quite taking over the card too much, but that's a beautiful sort of background as it should be. So I'm attaching some double-sided adhesive to my vellum. I'm going to take this rectangular stitch die and cut that. I'm going to cut down my card front to go over my card base, giving me a nice little gap so I can add on a layer of colored cardstock as well. Now, because I've used double-sided adhesive on my vellum, I can just stick that right down on my card front, and I don't have to worry about glue showing anywhere through any of that. Now I'm going to use this die set here. This is new in my stash from Spellbinders. These are actually my first ever Spellbinders dies, and I got a few of these ones here, which are from a new collection that they just released, and they are so super cute and really easy to work with. So I decided I wanted to use these on the front of my card. I thought they were nice and dainty and delicate, and they went well with a nice bold background. So I'm die cutting some of these out of colored foil. You can have a look at the video that I'll link in my description box, possibly in the top right hand here, and you can check out how you can make your own colored foil to match your cardstock as well. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out some holographic foil and some glitter foil, and then use this other set from Spellbinders, which has got these really funky kind of swirly fun bits. I think this is kind of like the stuff that you would get in flowers sometimes. You get that kind of extra decorative stuff. I don't know much about flowers, as you can tell. I don't ever buy them, but I know that I've seen them in shops so that you can get this fun stuff in there. And I think that's what that's meant to be. Correct me if I'm wrong though. And I'm going ahead and making up these flowers. You get this little die that cuts out all the flowers for you, so you don't have to die cut them out and then kind of cut them apart and paper piece them back together. I'm making a little tiny mark with my pencil roughly where the middle is, because that's where I kind of want to aim to have my little stems go. I want them to sort of all go to the middle because I want to put a sentiment along that part there, and I want the sentiment to kind of cover up where they join together. So I'm starting out with my holographic card in the background, being sort of like a more backgroundy look, and then I'm going to go ahead and place my flowers over the top. I'm just using some liquid glue, just kind of dabbing it on, and that worked a charm, and I could go ahead and stick them on. It's a bit difficult to see my vellum there in the background, but when you kind of look at it a bit closer up, it really does make an impact on the card. It kind of gives you that focal area where your eye is drawn into. Now obviously I didn't put these all on top of that vellum before I stuck the vellum down, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut off my little stems. I stuck a bit of cardstock underneath just to be able to allow my knife to get in there and cut them off. And then I went ahead and added the middles in holographic card onto those flowers as well, and added that sentiment along the bottom to finish it off, and I obviously layered it up with a bit of dark blue cardstock. My next card, I did a very similar thing. I die cut out those fun shapes, and then I added some gems on. I cut a panel out of my beautiful background that we made and adhered that to the card. This last one, I used some shape dies, cut out a shape and just used one of the flowers and stuck that right in the middle with a sentiment. So there's some quick and easy ideas for you on how you can make the most out of these little backgrounds and how you can kind of have a really beautiful card that you can gift away to someone. So I hope you enjoyed tonight. I hope you had fun with me, and I would love it if you liked and subscribed to my channel and joined me each week for some crafting fun. Take care and have a fabulous weekend. Bye.